Oh, it's a bit.
my assistant's here.
Hey, what's up guys? Christian here for Kriscoart. Today, we're making a website specifically for filmmakers. So today we're going to be using Wix to create this website, but most of the stuff that we're going to be talking about is pretty much applicable to any other website building software out there. But the reason why I like Wix so much is that it's very visual. So to me, as a visual storyteller, it just makes more sense to build my website that way rather than just coding, and that gets really stressful because I've tried that. I even purchased one of the best templates out there, and honestly that really wasn't sustainable for me more than anything, because anytime I wanted to make a change or update a new video on the website, I would have to go into the code and figure it out. And whenever you do that, that can be the source of a lot of errors in the website and just a lot of headaches that I didn't want to deal with. If you're a filmmaker or if you're a visual storyteller, it just makes more sense to build your brand online in a visual way rather than just, either hiring someone and spending a bunch of money or coding it yourself, which is a nightmare. So I'm really excited for this video because I'm actually going to be rebuilding my own website, and you'll be able to see all the steps that I took and just some of the thought process that went into building a platform where I could establish my brand and represent my brand, and also just showcase the content that I make in a very clean way, in a very accessible way too. That's really important. You want your website to look pretty and nice, but it also needs to be functional. So even if you're not using Wix, I still think that you'll enjoy this video because I'm going to try to just jam-pack as many tips on web building and some of the things that you need to think about when you are presenting your brand online through your website. Alright, so let's jump into Wix and let's get started. So the nice thing about Wix is it's not just a platform where it's really easy to just drag and drop elements and create your own website, but you also have really solid starting points, which are templates that they offer. And most of these are free. You can go into some premium ones, but the free ones are always being updated and they're really, really solid. So you can just pick a style that works for what you're trying to do, and you can just edit the elements in there, you can move things around, and you can make that template just really feel like your own website. And the way you modify elements is so easy. You just literally, whatever you're seeing, you can just click on, move around, edit and change, and it's really that simple. You can delete things, you can add different things, you can even just change the elements, such as this video background. You can just click on it, you can go under its settings, and you can choose whatever image, video, or color you want. And the nice thing is that you always have just several different options for each element to really customize it and really make it your own. Same thing, of course, goes for galleries. You can have these really beautiful and responsive galleries, and you can just go into the settings, change whichever images you want to show and what kind of information you want to show with those images. So it's all really customizable, and I really love that because I don't like to be boxed in when I'm trying to be creative with my website, so I love that you have all these options there for you. But for my own website, I actually wanted to just start from scratch because before going into Wix and seeing where to place everything, I actually did that on paper a little bit before. And you can do this in Photoshop. You can just kind of create a basic outline, which is called a wireframe of your website. So you can start with that first, just to kind of lay out things and just have a brainstorming session of just visually where things are going to be placed. And that's really important because once you have that, you can kind of use it as sort of the roadmap of getting into the actual application or the platform, and then you'll actually know what you're doing because you have a clear plan in your head. So I really recommend doing that first, and a lot of times even just by brainstorming and just sketching things out on paper, you realize that certain things just don't work and other things might need to be placed differently, and it definitely helped me when just diving into something as important as your own website. That's something that I can't stress enough. Your website, it's almost like your business cards. It's the way you're presenting yourself to people, so there needs to be a lot of thought being put into that. So let's start with a few basic things. One of the first things that I want to talk about is icons. I love them and I've used them all throughout my website. So for example, for the main menu bar, I just used one icon on the top left corner of the screen. So for that, on the left side, you're going to always find your main menu where you can just add things with the plus sign over there. So once you click on that, you'll find this sub menu where you have all these different categories of elements that you can add to your website. So we're going to drag and drop an icon. What I wanted to do with this icon is having something on the left side of the screen that's always going to be there. So it will be pinned on that side of the screen, and whenever you scroll up and down, that will remain fixed in the same position. So that will help when people are scrolling through your website and they need to access the menu at all times. It's nice to have this icon to the side that's really not that intrusive, or not as intrusive as a full kind of menu header thing. I'm not really a big fan of those, but again, this is just my personal preference and the style that I want to give to my own website. I'm trying to go for a minimal feel, but you may not, so it all depends on what you're trying to do. So when clicking on the settings of this icon, you notice that you have 3 different sets of images that you can use per icon. So one image is just when it's normal, when it's appearing on your page, and the other image is when your cursor or mouse is hovering over it, and then finally the third image is once you click it. So it'll show these different images depending on what you're doing, and I think this is a great way to add detail to your website. So personally what I did is I created 3 different versions for the menu icon. The first one is just my normal logo, and then when you hover over it, I created a version where it's slightly blurry, and then when you click it, I created a version where it's kind of glowing this bluish color. So once you've created those in Photoshop, you can import those 3 images into Wix, and then you can just select which one you want for each action to happen. So under the normal one, I just put my normal logo. Then once you hover over it, it fades into the blurry logo, and then when it's clicked, it shows the glow. So you can pin this icon to the top left corner, you can make it show up on all the pages, which is nice so that you always have that menu there. And then from there, what I wanted to do is I actually wanted to trigger a Lightbox. And a Lightbox is just a pop-up that still doesn't make you leave the page that you're on, it's just something that pops up and then you can exit out of. And I think that's really nice for a menu. I really like that style. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a new Lightbox, and then in here we can just pick one from one of the menu templates and modify what's in it. So that's what I did. I picked this one, and then I could just change the text and add some icons and some social media and other stuff like that. And that's just a great way to have something that's really non-intrusive that can open up a larger menu where you can clearly navigate and go to where you want to go. So to link those two together, once you've created a Lightbox, you can just exit the editing of the Lightbox, and that'll take you back onto the main page. And then in there we can select the icon, and under this link menu, you can tell it where to go. So you can say that you want to open up a Lightbox, and then in there you can specify which Lightbox you want to open up. I want to show you one quick little trick that I've done all throughout my website, and that is using PNG images. Doesn't sound like much of a trick, but the nice thing about PNG images is that you can render them or export them with an alpha channel, so they have transparency in the image. So that means that you can create something like this lamp over here, and you can make it seem like it's overlapping over things. And that's because it's a PNG image with transparency, and I've done that all throughout. I even did this header with the desk, and the same thing. I just went into Photoshop, I cut the desk out, and then I added another image behind it. And this is where you can get fancy with parallax and really create engaging visuals in your website. Adding a sense of depth is really interesting. Always when I see that, I'm a big fan of parallax effects. So doing it this way, you can have a parallax strip, and then in front of that you can place an image. And you can always arrange things to pop up further or below us another element in the toolbox bar on the right side, and you can just arrange them that way. Another cool trick that I did on the website was adding an image of an iPad and then squeezing in a gallery in that iPad, so it looks like a functioning iPad on your website in a way. I think that's really cool. It just adds little things that just keep your audience engaged as you're scrolling through, rather than just presenting just a slideshow. You definitely want to keep people engaged and keep people on the platform, and little things like this, little detail and little thoughts of that nature can really help. But when I was trying to move these things around, it was always a pain to have to rearrange them. So a nice little feature is that you can actually select multiple elements by holding Shift on your keyboard, and you can group them together. So once you've done that, you can click and drag those elements as a whole, and they'll all move in together without having to always readjust each one to fit back with each other. And the nice thing about this is I can just move all these things around. Everything is very responsive on Wix. I mean, you can just literally swap things around, shrink things, and everything kind of scales accordingly. And that is really nice, because just coding that alone is a nightmare. And even from just a viewer standpoint, not just even creating the website, you want things to be responsive. So whenever you're going from, let's say, a laptop screen to a tablet to a phone, all of those different sizes and elements need to kind of scale and just respond in a way that doesn't mess things up. A lot of times when I was attempting to code my own website, whenever I would even shrink down the browser or go from one device to another, things would just be in places that they weren't supposed to, things were overlapping. So it's nice that Wix just takes care of all that for you, so you don't have to worry about it. And that is definitely a time saver. Now, specifically for filmmakers and just content creators out there, you want to make sure that your content is shining on your website. If people are going on your website and they have to click through multiple pages to get to your content, that's not good, because you really want that to be the highlight of your website. If you're presenting your brand, then you also need to present what your brand makes. So it's really important. You want to make sure that that is very accessible, and that is one of the first things that people can find when they're visiting your website. So the way I've divided my website is under Learn, Create, and Share, which is what the company and the channel stands for essentially. And each section contains content that I make, just split up into different categories. So if you're looking into educational content and tutorials, then you can go under the Learn section. And if you're looking to more of the stuff that I create and short films and videos and other stuff like that, then you can go under the Create section. And you can also find my demo reel there, which is another important thing. If you're a cinematographer or filmmaker, you want to make sure that people can just find your demo reel really easily. And that's why I decided to put it on my main page. And just as a quick side note, you can embed YouTube videos and Vimeo videos. And the way I did this is simply just go under the add section and add a Vimeo video, and then from there you can just paste the link and it all works from there. So really love how simple everything is on here. And from there, you also want to show your presence on social media. So maybe embedding your Instagram on your website could be a good idea. And this is, again, super easy. You can just go under the Add tab and add an Instagram feed right onto your channel. Just click, drag and drop it. And then from there, you can connect your Instagram to that. And you have this beautiful gallery of your Instagram pictures that are live updated. You don't have to touch it after that. It just updates itself. And the nice thing about this is that when you go over them, you can actually see the amount of likes. You can click on the pictures and it showcases them on a pop-up. It's almost like you're on Instagram, but without ever leaving the platform or your website. So I think that's really great. And then from there, you can use some of the tricks that we already talked about, like using a PNG image with these kind of rock shapes that I did in Photoshop. And then you can add a strip background below that. And what I've added here is a matte painting that I did, which kind of matches that rock formation. So it's a nice way to transition from this background parallax effect to the main body of this page. And this goes back to the idea of showcasing your work. All of these images, all of these breaks and nice parallax effects are always showcasing some of my work. So this is my matte painting work, and I'm just using it as a background for this header, for this section of the marketplace, but it's still a way to showcase what I do. So that's one of the main things that you need to really keep in mind, is how to best use the real estate that you have available on each page and make that as efficient as possible to show your work. And then from there, your website can be a great way to make money. You can add just some of the AdSense ads that Google provides. You can embed them on your website, and that could be a way to revenue some money. But personally, I'm not a big fan of that because just aesthetically, it's not very pleasing when you see a bunch of ads. I usually don't like that. And it can be annoying, so I usually just try to shy away from those. Instead, I'll go more the route of providing merch or goods or services on the website. So that's what I've done. I've created a marketplace, and it's super easy to add a store to your website with Wix. The way I did it was literally just go under Add Store, and everything is already set up for you. So it does create its own page for the store, but if you have another page for the store already set up, you can just go to that and you can just start adding elements to that. And it's literally as easy as drag and drop. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this quick overview of Wix. I know it wasn't that quick, but there are so many more features that I haven't even touched upon. But it all follows these same kind of techniques. It's all really simple. It's drag and drop. You click on what you see to edit, and I love that. I just love how visual this tool is. Go make your own website. You can use it for free, but I really recommend updating to the premium versions if you are serious about your brand and your website, because with the free version, it'll say yourwebsite.wix.com or something like that. So you want to make sure that you're establishing your own brand online. So to get rid of that and get rid of any other kind of watermark and just really making that website yours, I recommend upgrading to the premium plans, and they offer a lot of extra features too. So if you're serious about establishing yourself online, definitely look into those. And I want to thank Wix for making this video possible and making my website possible. I'm honestly really excited. And by the time you're watching this video, hopefully, if I got everything sorted, you will be able to go to Kriscoart.com and see everything that we did today and see how the final result was. So really excited for that. I can't wait to be updating more things on that website. More products will be coming soon. If you go to the marketplace right now, you can download a bunch of free assets that I've posted there. So I hope you enjoyed that. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. My name is Chris Trini for Kriscoart, and I will see you in the next video.